Hey everybody, how's it going? Waifu Selector again, and today I've got another Overwatch video here, and this time I want to focus on the new hero, Kiriko. Now in the future I'll probably do a full Overwatch 2 overview maybe, but as of right now, there's really no overview to be had. It's a fucking mess. That's the overview. Nobody's been able to play. If you are able to play, the game is stripping away your content. It's been days. It's a mess, okay? I've personally barely been able to get in, and when the game did start to let me in, I basically have to try to extend my sessions for as long as I can, because if I log off and try to get back in, it takes like an hour. I'm basically trying to preempt the fucking game. Like, oh, well, I was thinking about playing at 3 o'clock, so I'll turn the game on at 2. Like, what the hell? Overwatch 2 right now is like a crock pot dinner. It's like pot roast. You have to let the game simmer for a few hours. You can't just play it. You have to wait all day. Then you play. Its actual name is Overwatch 2, pot roast. So... Okay, anyway, enough of my stupid jokes. The on-fire state that Overwatch is in right now is why I will be focusing on just Kiriko. I played quite a few hours of her so far, definitely gonna go in for more, but I think I have enough to give a general dive into what she's all about, so let's get into it. First off, I want to say that I am a support main, well, kinda. I do play a lot of tank too, but I'm a support main because my best and favorite character to play is Moira, so naturally I was excited when the largely underserved support roster finally got a new addition, and I've got to say I'm enjoying my time with her. So how is Kiriko's ease of access? How simple is it to jump in and be effective with her? Well, I'd say it's pretty easy, but not quite as easy as characters get in Overwatch, or even as easy as supports get in Overwatch. Like, I think Baptiste is an easier character than her. I'd say she's like in the hard part of easy, if that makes sense. Like, she's in the easy bracket, but it's like, you know, she's at the highest part of the easy bracket, right? She's almost in the medium, but not quite. But anyway, Kiriko's primary fire is her healing, and it's essentially these mid-speed projectile talismans that float and home in on your teammates. So it's actually really easy to get in and do some active healing. She also has a secondary fire that kind of skill checks her offensive capabilities, and I kind of love that idea, but let me explain it. Her secondary fire is her throwing these kunai. They move at a fairly decent speed, but they're kind of hard to land and kind of hard to aim, and these kunai are very low damage, so you're not going to be going full offensive Moira anytime soon. Or are you? Because the thing is, yes, the kunai are low damage, but they also do increased critical damage. So headshots with these kunai do an astronomical chunk to enemies. This is what I mean by skill checking her offense. If you get in there and all but ignore your healing duties in favor of chucking kunai all willy-nilly, you're probably gonna learn a hard fucking lesson. But if you're good enough to land your fucking headshots, oh buddy, then all bets are off. No kidding, hitting a non-tank enemy, and sometimes even tank enemies, just once in the head with the kunai is enough to make them rethink every fucking thing, every decision they ever fucking made. And you can drop enemies like flies if you get on a hot streak of landing crits. Like, this idea of an easy to access healing aspect and a skill barrier on the offensive side of her might be my favorite thing about the gameplay design of Kiriko. The skill barrier is like a perfect answer to making sure you don't repeat the Moira problem again. You know how a lot of Moira players just end up neglecting the healing in favor of being a makeshift damage hero. When people try that shit with Kiriko, you know what happens? They get fucking smashed and they switch heroes. I've seen it happen a lot. You have to pick your offensive moments with her wisely, unless you're just an absolute goat or you have an aimbot. But now moving on. Kiriko is also outfitted with a bit of utility. She can throw this small bomb-like thing at her teammates that grants them a short invulnerability window, as well as cleanses them of negative effects. And I stress just how short the invulnerability window is because you might be thinking, well, that sounds kind of like Baptiste, but this doesn't last nearly as long as Baptiste's immortality field. Kiriko's bomb grants you around 2 seconds of invincibility, maybe a little less. And when it's active, obviously, you're invincible, you can't take damage, but you also can't get like scooped or something by like fucking Roadhog. So using it at the right time to negate heavy fire is really the key of it. It also isn't a stand in this area type of thing like the immortality field. And it does have a small area of effect explosion, so if your team is all clustered up, you can get a bunch of you in just a single use, you know? So obviously the idea here was to not just make this the Baptiste immortality field with the new coat of paint, and that's done by making the invulnerability far more temporary. But what makes this not just a shitty version of the immortality field is the cleansing effect that I mentioned. Hitting a teammate with this ability can get rid of anti-heal, it can clear Sombra's hacks, it can remove Zenyatta's orb of discord, you know, all that kind of stuff. I think it even wakes you up if Ana sleeps you. It's just a very useful utility tool. And I'm admittedly still getting the hang of properly utilizing it, but in those moments where I do put it to great use, you know, there's just something so satisfying about Junker Queen or Ana anti-healing your whole fucking team only for you to immediately clear them up and get right back to it. But yeah, anyway, let's move on to our next ability. And I don't think I'm gonna spend a lot of time on this one because it's not really necessary. So this is Kiriko's movement ability / escape plan. She basically can target a teammate and teleport to them. It's a pretty quick cooldown, it has good distance. Is it Moira's teleport? Fuck no. But I don't think any support will ever get that good of an escape again. As far as being an escape, Kiriko's teleport is stifled by the fact that she can't do it alone. So if your teammates are kind of spread out and far or coming back from the spawn and you're left alone, you're kind of fucked. But as far as Kiriko herself returning from spawn, the teleport is great for getting right back to your in-need teammate quickly, you know? And I might as well talk about her passive while we're discussing moving around. Kiriko's passive is that she can climb walls like Genji and Hanzo. And yeah, you can use it to have some extra mobility and dance around enemies, but it doesn't come off all that useful for her. If a low health teammate is up high, I just instantly teleport to them. Why would I climb a wall? With Genji and Hanzo, climbing is good for finding vantage points or spots to initiate an ambush, you know. With Kiriko being generally far less damaging, those same advantages don't really apply to her. I'm not saying it's useless or anything. I mean, she has the ability, and you'll definitely run into a time where I'm sure you'll say, whoa, glad I could climb walls, you know, that'll happen at some point, but I don't think this is the key to her success as a character at all. I think they just kind of gave her the standard ninja passive and didn't really worry about if it was complementary to her other abilities or overall kit. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure someone will have some story like, well, actually, I main Kiriko and I got play of the game, 50 kills, 50,000 healing without throwing any kunai or talismans because I just kept jumping off the walls and they were dropping like flies. 50 kills, all wall, wall to wall, hole in the wall, ball, drywall. Well, whatever. I'm just giving my opinion. So now let's just talk about her ult. I think it's called Kitsune Rush. So what this does is it sends a fox spirit that rushes forward in the direction you're facing, and it makes a spirit path on the ground complete with ephemeral blue torii gates. And any of your teammates, including yourself, who are on the path will have increased movement speed, attack speed, and reduced cooldowns. It's pretty much an excuse for your team to go absolutely fucking hog wild. And yes, you do have to stay on the path or you don't receive the benefits, but the path is pretty wide, it's pretty generous. So as long as you don't get too cocky about it, you should be fine and have the buffs for the entire duration. I think her ult becomes even more of a go crazy button when Kiriko herself just spams her healing the entire time. With the increased attack speed, it becomes an absolute task for your teammates to die if they stay in your line of sight. I think ultimately her ultimate is in a relatively good place. It doesn't seem exceedingly overpowered, but it's certainly far from useless. I kind of feel like they should eliminate the path though, you know, like, and just make her ult a wide burst effect, and any teammates in the affected range when she initiates the ability are granted the buffs for the full duration, no matter how far away they get from Kiriko herself or the Kitsune path. Just my opinion. I also think maybe her ult charge is a little too slow, but yeah, you know, it's a solid ult still. So yeah, there you have it. You know, I tried not to waste your time. I tried to, you know, get through it. Those are my thoughts on Kiriko. Try to keep it concise. She's a solidly effective healer. I don't think she'll be replacing Moira for me anytime soon, but that doesn't mean she's ineffective. I'm having a lot of fun playing her. You know, tell me what you think about her. Tell me what you disagree with or agree with. You know, this was fun. I like doing this. I like talking about Overwatch. I should find more Overwatch shit to talk about. Whatever, we'll see. Anyway, until next time, I am Waifu Belector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and I'm gonna go wait in the queue for an hour. Goodbye.